Welcome to Drama-Free Healthy Living with Jess Cording. I'm your host, Jess Cording. I'm a registered dietitian, health coach, and author, and I'm here to help you streamline your wellness routine and establish a sane, more balanced relationship with food and fitness so you can reach your goals without losing your mind. On this podcast, we'll talk about nutrition, exercise, self-care, mindset, and more. I'll be bringing you interviews and expert insight on the topics that matter to your health and wellness. Hi, and welcome back to the Drama-Free Healthy Living podcast. I'm your host, Jess Cording. Today, we're going to talk about how alcohol impacts your sleep. This is something that I would file this one under things I wish I had known when I was younger. Even though we're conditioned to think that alcohol can help us relax and unwind and go to bed, actually, it's been shown to be not helpful for sleep. So in this solo episode, I'm going to share a little bit about why that is and some ways to actually enjoy restorative sleep. So I hope that you find this helpful. I know, listen, I've been there. I'm someone who struggled with insomnia since I was a child. And I know how frustrating it is when you are just desperate for a good night of sleep and it's not happening. So I honestly, that's a big part of why I became so interested in the science of sleep, because I wanted to actually get some rest. I had been working in nutrition for most over 10 years at that point. And I found that for myself, I was struggling with this. My clients were struggling with it. And I wanted to learn as much as I could about how to improve sleep. So one of the biggest takeaways for myself as a clinician and also as a human who wanted to sleep was that alcohol actually is really not helpful for supporting good rest. So I'm going to dive into a few of the reasons why that is. So, okay, but it's been pretty well established that alcohol is something that, while it may come with a few health benefits, so it's a social connector, traditionally. And, we've all seen those headlines about alcohol being heart healthy, but we also know that it's not very helpful for neurological function, puts it at increased risk of accidents, can lower inhibitions, which, if you are at, say, like a high school reunion or a wedding and feeling awkward, maybe that can feel like a good thing. But if we're talking about maintaining healthy habits, that may also make it harder to stay on track with healthy eating and exercise habits. Hangovers, those are definitely a bummer, we'll say. That can definitely throw, your best intentions off track when it comes to healthy habits. Alcohol has been linked directly to a number of certain cancers in terms of increasing risk. So that's not nothing. And then we also found that alcohol is not helpful for sleep. Additionally, it can have impacts on mental health, and it is an addictive substance. So that can come with a whole range of issues. But so why did alcohol become something that we turn to for getting ready for bed and relaxation? And one of the things that does come up is that it has a initial dulling effect, a calming effect. It kind of helps us feel like we're moving in slow motion and relaxing. And part of that, it's got it acts as a depressant. And a sedative. It has a sedative effect that can make us feel more relaxed and sleepy. And what commonly happens is if you drink alcohol before bed, you'll fall asleep really quickly, but that doesn't mean you're getting quality rest. So what happens is that alcohol interferes with slow wave and REM sleep, and it disrupts the balance of these sleep stages. So rather than going through these sleep stages more naturally at a normal pace, we're kind of like dropped in the middle of our sleep, and it's not where it's not good quality sleep. You tend to fall asleep quickly and then wake up in the middle of the night. And you've probably had this experience that you feel wide awake. Maybe you're super thirsty, you're anxious, your heart is racing. And alcohol has been associated with overall poor sleep quality, more interruptions in our sleep, and shorter overall sleep duration. If you've ever had that experience of waking up too early after a night out, you probably don't need me to tell you that. We also know that alcohol has been tied to increase in sleep apnea symptoms. So the way that it does this is that alcohol causes our throat muscles to relax. So that can actually increase the resistance during breathing that causes those interruptions. And I'm not necessarily meaning like, I'm not talking about like binge drinking, by the way. I'm talking like even like one serving of alcohol before bed, that can trigger apnea symptoms, snoring, even for people who don't actually have a sleep apnea diagnosis. And in terms of what counts as a serving of alcohol, just while we're on the topic, so traditionally you're looking at about 12 ounces of beer, 5 ounces of wine, or an ounce to an ounce and a half of a distilled spirit like whiskey, vodka, that kind of thing. And just to know that if you're having a mixed drink, so say like a martini, Manhattan, Manhattan iced tea, you're likely having more than one serving of alcohol in that glass. So just to be mindful of that. There's a difference in terms of alcohol content when if you have like a glass of wine and a martini side by side, the martini typically has more servings of alcohol in that glass. So just to be aware of that. So okay, so then so why do we care, right? Like why do we care about alcohol disrupting our sleep? Like why is this something that's important? And I think what's important to note is that, we need good quality sleep for, our mental and physical health, emotional health. Um, you know, Having adequate sleep is important for our mood. It's important for our heart. It's important for our immune system, our stress response, weight management. I have a whole episode on that I just shared recently. Athletic performance, whether that's like you're an athlete or someone who works out, to stay well and feel good, you know, you probably have realized that after you've been drinking, you notice a big difference in how you feel when you're moving your body or attempting to move your body. Um, so, other ways to get restful sleep. So, I'm just going to scratch the surface here, but you want to aim for keeping your sleeping environment cool, dark, and quiet, and limit that screen time. I know you've heard this over and over, and I totally get how hard it is to be consistent with this. But the reason for this is that one thing is if we are exposed to bright lights from screens, so like TVs, tablets, phones, laptops, watches at night, that's disrupting levels of melatonin, which is a hormone that regulates our sleep cycle. But then there's also the part of it where it's like, okay, what are we consuming on those devices? What media, what messages, what's getting planted in our minds, right before we're attempting to call it a night. So often that are things that are going to disrupt our sleep. I know for myself, I have to be very mindful about not using social media before bed because sometimes it will trigger work brain for me. I'll see, oh, this person is doing that thing. Oh, should I be doing that too? And then next thing I know, I'm like typing out emails and, writing like brainstorming when I should be winding down to like freaking relax. So I've been there too, guys. I get it. Um, Other things to keep in mind, sticking to a consistent sleep wake schedule. Our brain and our body really likes consistency. So anything we can do to train our brain and body to recognize it's time to call it a night can go a long way. A few ways to do this, establishing a relaxing bedtime routine does not have to be anything super intense. You don't need an 11-step skincare routine or anything like that, but just a few things that you consistently do before bed that are sort of like telling yourself, all right, it's time to go to sleep. Things like obviously limiting alcohol before bed. I get questions a lot about what about dinner, like how late is too late to eat dinner. And it's not that there's a magic hour of the day that everybody should adhere to, but research does suggest we're better giving ourselves about 2 to 3 hours before bed after our last meal so that we have a chance to digest. Or if you are someone who has to eat dinner really, really early, but then you're up for a while, having a small snack within about an hour of bedtime can work. If we lie down on a full stomach, that's when you're looking at things like heartburn, and it's just much harder to fall asleep and stay asleep if your body's working hard digesting. Another thing that we don't always think about is that, what we're consuming, what we're doing during the day can also impact our sleep. So I definitely would limit caffeine in the afternoon. Some people are slower metabolizers than others. You may know how sensitive you are to caffeine. But Ideally, I tend to recommend switching to decaf in the afternoon. In terms of like to get back to alcohol, how much alcohol is okay, how much is too much, and it really depends what healthcare provider you ask this question to. For example, the World Health Organization guidelines state that moderate drinking is defined as one serving per day for women. So the 5 ounces of wine, 12 ounces of beer, or ounce to ounce and a half of distilled spirits for women, or 2 servings per day for men. That is considered moderate. However, when we look at a lot of the research on disease risk, where there is shown to be a relationship between alcohol intake and increased risk of that disease, that one serving a day, that drinking moderately might be a little too high. So obviously, talk to your doctor about your individual risk. But for example, we know with breast cancer, for every one serving someone's having per day, that's been correlated with about a 10% increase in breast cancer risk. That risk drops off really significantly around 3 servings per week of alcohol. So, for someone who's maybe keeping their eye towards risk reduction, but still wants to enjoy some alcohol, that 3 or fewer servings a week might be a good ballpark goal for that person. So other things to know: what to drink besides alcohol. We've been so conditioned to always turn to alcohol as the go-to beverage, especially for social occasions or for relaxation. But yes, there's water. Cool. That works, and seltzer. But I would also encourage getting creative with mocktails, using different herbs and spices. And there's a huge world of non-alcoholic beverages to explore today. There's been so much innovation in that category. So, get creative, get curious. So just be mindful if you're looking at some non-alcoholic beverage alternative. Just know that some might have caffeine. Like, for example, some of the wine alternatives are often made with white tea or other caffeinated teas. So just check the labels to make sure there's no caffeine in there. And then, of course, you have herbal teas, decaf coffee, things along those lines. So plenty of other things to drink. So this is all just for informational purposes. If you are looking for any support with reducing alcohol intake, please don't hesitate to reach out to either a trusted friend, or there's a number of different hotlines you can call. I think a therapist can also be a great resource if you are looking for help. If you're looking for just a national hotline number, though, however, if you're looking for support or treatment referrals, you can call 1-800-662-HELP. And there you can speak to someone 24/7, get information if you're dealing with mental or substance use or abuse disorders. So you have support. So just want to say thank you for joining me. Just wanted to share this short and sweet episode, just a few notes on the relationship between alcohol and sleep. And just to know, if you are looking for more support with your sleep routine, I'm here to help. I am just relaunched another cohort of my 6 weeks to better sleep course, where we do a deep dive on nutrition, lifestyle, and some things like exercise and meditation to support more restful sleep and help you build healthy habits that will be with you for life. So this is not a quick fix. This is all about building sustainable routines that improve your well-being. No crazy fad diets here, no insanely complicated routines, just good science-backed information and a supportive community. So if you're interested in that, you can reach out to me, either visit my website, jessicacordingnutrition.com, send me an email, or you can DM me I'm most active on Instagram at Jess Cording. I would love to hear from you. And if you like this episode, please consider leaving us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. They do matter and help me continue to bring you informative content. But just as a reminder, this podcast is intended for educational purposes and entertainment purposes only, and is not meant to be a replacement for care from a licensed medical provider. I'm a dietitian, but I'm not your dietitian as well. So just all things to keep in mind. But I so appreciate you taking time out of your day to be here with me. And as always, have a wonderful day, and we'll talk soon. Thank you for listening to Drama Free Healthy Living with Jess Cording. We'll see you next time.